Yay.
So just waiting for the vortex.
Oh, good. Hello.
Hello, how's it going? I'm just like taking a cool picture real quick because look how awesome we look.
Cheers.
Yes. Cheers to live streaming. Oh my God, that's adorable.
Yay.
Yes. Hello.
Yes. Hello to everybody. I want to welcome everybody to our live stream conversation. Dillon is tuning in from Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting here in my apartment in Austin. And we're just gonna talk. And if you want to say something or have a question, feel free. On YouTube, there is the chat on the side there. So feel free to chat us up and we will answer as best we can.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. I can't wait.
It's so exciting.
This is so much fun.
I know, yay, I love it. And also I get to see you and we never get to see each other anymore. We never get to talk, so.
I know, this is so fantastic. Like one of the things that I'm like super, super grateful for, even with like having moved and stuff like that, is like I can still be connected with everybody back home and just have fun things like this where we're like, yeah, we're gonna chat for a while. We're gonna have some like be cool people together, hang out, drink wine, do what we do.
Yeah.
And just through a screen, you know, super cash.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So why don't we start off? Why don't you like tell people what Howlround is and what you're doing up there? Because some folks might not know, some people might not know who you are, some people might not know who I am. So maybe we'll just do like a little round of like introductions of what we do.
Yeah, that sounds great. Cool. So my name is Dillon Yruegas. My pronouns are he, him, his, o él si hablas español. And I am, like Melissa said, currently in Boston, Massachusetts, and I work for Howlround Theatre Commons. We are an online platform for theater makers worldwide, and we connect them through several different ways, including our online journal, our TV program, which is live streaming different events. We also have the National Playwright Residency Program, as well as having a sponsored project of the Latinx Theater Commons. Yeah, and so my position there is I'm the fellow. So I kind of am I say like a little bit of a catch-all, you know, everyone's little helper. So for the day-to-day, I help with social media, putting out e-newsletters, and then I also help with live streaming different events, whether before this lovely pandemic, that meant traveling to different conferences and convenings and things like that. But like I also do it locally as well.
That is so cool. Hey, I love Boston. Like Boston is a really cool place to live.
Totally.
But also I've seen the work that you've gotten to do over the year, traveling to different conferences and like doing the thing. And then you got to come to Austin and help Lisa over at Ground Floor stream. Oh my God. Transom,
yes.
I did it. Thank you, brain. Yeah, so that has been really cool. Yeah. And I'm Melissa Vogt, and I'm the managing director at the VORTEX. I do a lot of day-to-day operations. I also am in charge of marketing and like a lot of forward-facing presence at the theater. And I'm an actor. I'm on stage. I just wear a lot of hats, like you do when you're in a small or medium-sized theater organization. You just do a lot of things.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
All the things. It's fine.
It's all, you know, you wear like 5 hats. It's great.
Sometimes all at once.
Yeah, all at once. But, you know, it just means that you get a lot of skills. So I do feel sometimes like I could do anything if I put my mind to it. Yeah.
Look at you. It's true, though. Like your graphic design skills, BT dubs. Amazing. Every time I see something that you're like, oh yeah, designed by Melissa Vogt, I'm like, shut up. No, she did not. Cheers
Oh,
to
thanks.
that.
Appreciate it. Yeah, that's like one of the fun things that I get to do is graphic
Mhm.
design, which I had no idea what I was doing when I first started it. But I was like, why are we paying somebody to do this? I should just learn how to use Photoshop.
Mhm. And look at you now.
Designing things, yes.
It's fine.
Oh, the way I had the long hair.
Right? We can do it anyway. It's fine.
So, you know, I've had a lot of people talk to me recently, especially with all that's going on with the viral outbreak and theaters not being able to operate the way that they normally would. A lot of
Mhm.
people are talking to me about live streaming.
Yeah.
The people that even had like no interest in it before, they want to know what's a
Mhm.
skinny and, you
Yeah.
know, what are good platforms and all of that jazz. And
Mhm.
I tell them, of course, about Howlround because I've been streaming with Howlround since about 2015.
Amazing.
But I
Yeah.
thought,
Wow. That long.
it's been that long. Yeah, I went to
Mhm.
a TCG conference.
Mhm.
Was it the one in San Diego? It might have been, I think. And Vijay was giving a talk about like how people should be streaming on Howlround, and I was like, oh,
Mhm.
sure, I'll do that.
Why not?
And
That sounds
out of
cool.
the 50 things that I was like, yeah, I'll do that, that was one that I actually did.
Right? Yeah, because that's exactly how those conferences go. You're like, you meet people and are like, yes, we'll connect, we'll do this, we'll do that, blah, blah, blah. And then life happens and it's like
Yeah,
maybe one, if we're lucky.
right. Yeah, but I was like, you know, we do so much original work.
Mhm.
And if all it means is I get a bunch of equipment and just kind of like figure it out, then
Mhm.
by all means, I might as well do it. So I did.
Yeah, absolutely.
But even then, like the field has changed since 2015 with what equipment you should
Mhm.
use and how like you're streaming. I used to do it in like live stream studio. That's not even a thing anymore.
Oh my God, yeah. Goodness.
So
Wow.
maybe you could tell me a little bit about your live streaming experience
Mhm.
and what it might take for people to get their like starter beginner live streaming kit going.
Yeah, totally. So one thing that the link that I shared with you, Melissa, earlier that we
Mm-hmm.
are going to share out with folks following along, that has our live streaming guide, kind of like a very short breakdown of like what's in it.
I did it though. I saw a bunch of like COVID-19 stuff.
Yeah, so it's a little tricky. So the title is Ways of Gathering COVID-19.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, it's like the first one.
Ah ha 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 ha.
Yeah, so it's like that's like very much an essay kind of style, and it does give you like a little bit of the breakdown of the equipment that you need specifically. So we can definitely like direct folks to that. And like within that, it also has a link out to like the more robust live streaming guide. But for everyone tuning in now, so your basics, what you're going to need if you would like to live stream something as far as equipment goes, is a camera that can do video, like specifically a video camera. You can do it with a webcam. You can do it with a smaller like point and shoot camera. Um, you're not going to get the best of quality out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we always encourage people to have like their own separate video camera, especially one that can hook up specifically into another piece of equipment that you might need called a black magic device.
I have one of those.
Yeah. And so for those of you listening, a black magic device is, I'm not like, this is me kind of like spouting out very layman's term things. It essentially what it does is like, it takes the image from the camera, scrambles it through the little black magic device, and you connect it into your computer, and then it basically formats it the best speed and rate for live streaming itself. So you have like the best picture quality, the best sound quality possible out of that. You can also do it without this, but it's not the best. It's like whenever, you see whenever people go onto like Facebook Live or something like that, when they're on their phone, and it's usually like can get a little pixelated. It can get a little bit laggy. Sound and like audio and visual can be off sometimes. So basically what the Blackmagic device does is it kind of like helps solidify everything. And it's like, okay, we are using this for live stream. Here we go.
Yeah, and I will say that it's important to have your sound go through that too, because the past 2 streams that we've done have been very like off, because I was using a Yeti microphone and I was using a camera, and the camera was going through the Blackmagic device, although I was having a lot of problems with it, so I just recently replaced it with another one. But you could tell like it was off, and the longer the stream goes, the more off it's going to be, and that's just really disconcerting. I almost feel like even if your picture isn't that great, if it's standard definition or whatever, like if you have an older camcorder, that's fine, but your sound like has to be on point. People really need to be able to understand what the actors are saying. If it's just a bunch of blurry pictures or even crisp pictures that are moving around but you can't hear what they're saying, like people will tune out pretty fast.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely, I mean, even you'll see that in the live streaming guide whenever you all go through that. Like, sound really is like the most important part. And there are different ways to do sound. You can have something that's like called either a boom or a shotgun mic that you attach to the camera itself, and it's just like say this is the camera, and it's like this little mic that stands on top, and it's well, you point it in whatever direction that you need.
Ooh, I have examples.
Yeah. Yes, examples.
Examples.
Show and tell.
Coming. I'm going like this because you can see my bra. We already discussed this eventuality here. Right. So here is a little. Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah, shotgun mic. And it's super tiny. You just mount it on, and then you hook it into your camera through, if you have the XLR slot, or the sometimes they'll just have like a little like what looks like a headphone jack, and you can hook it into there too. Yeah.
Now that one I got with a current camera that literally I'm just busting out today and using. It's like, it's nice picture. I love it. But it's like an off-market mic, and it just no.
Camera's not having it.
No, it's not having it. I mean, it works, but it also has this kind of like little hummingbird, like triple. No, don't want it. So I'm gonna look and see what Sony has. I'm using a Sony Handycam.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, they made them in 2015, but they're still producing them. And from what I read, it's like a good basic camera if you can't afford something expensive.
Right, absolutely. Us at Howlround, we are like fortunate enough to have a budget to have top of the line equipment. So we use Canon X series. So there's like we have a couple of X35s, a 45, and we just recently got 55s. Super cute.
Nice.
Do not ask me what those mean. I just know that they're different like generations of it.
They're the fancy letters of Canon. And Canon is great. Canon is like top of the line as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah.
The Sony Handycam cost around, I don't know, $600, $650. A really great like a low level professional camera is going to cost you around $1,500 to $2,000.
Right.
Just FYI. So if you're not ready to make the investment, if you don't know if this is something you're going to do a lot, I recommend doing some research and just seeing what cameras are out there that would work for your needs.
Absolutely. And then also like Austin specifically being such like a robust TV and film crowd, there are so many different places that you could be able to rent cameras from.
Yeah, you're so right. Like Rock and Roll, definitely. I think the Austin Film Society too.
I believe so, yeah. And then if you have anybody who's a student or like affiliated with like University of Texas or Austin Community College, they also have cameras that you're able to check out for a short period of time. So if it's something that's like a one-night engagement, you can definitely check those things out, so that you just have to kind of figure out like what the cost is and like what your budget is that you're willing to spend. Because like you said, if it's something that you want to do a little bit more long-term, maybe investing in a camera for yourself is going to be good.
Right.
If you just want to like try it out for one night, see how it goes, maybe just rent a camera for the intro.
Yeah, I mean, and also like if you're only doing original work 1 time a year or 2 times a year, then a rental cost will take you through 4 or 5 years probably, or even beyond that, as opposed to buying a camera.
Exactly, yeah.
And then you don't have to maintain it, and it doesn't go out of like software capabilities, which sometimes happens. I mean, technology, right?
Oh yeah, so true. Oh my goodness, yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of like the separate technical side of everything. And then when we get to computer specific stuff, you do, if you can as possible, try and have like a hard line into your internet. Wi-Fi is okay, as long as you have like a high enough bit rate and download speed. And that like nobody else is on it at the time. Because that also plays into like how many, you know, frames per second and the level of quality of like both the audio and the visual are for it. And software. There are actually quite a few different softwares that you can use. We usually direct people either to Livestream Producer, because we do our live streaming through livestream.com. And so it's really handy to have Livestream Producer. It's all a little bit more streamlined that way. But we also use OBS, that's OBS software. And that's like a little bit more fun. You don't have to have a live stream account or that software to be able to do it. And you can stream to quite literally anything as long as you have the proper code, which is called an RTM key. There's a way that you plug that into the software and it will stream wherever your hosting site is.
Yeah,
it's really nice.
So I have to say, like, as a Mac user, when I updated my operating system the last time, Livestream Producer is no longer really compatible with Macs at that level of software upgrade. Like something was happening where I couldn't stream in HD anymore.
Oh, weird.
It wasn't like the sound was weird. So I switched over to OBS, and I have to say I really like it.
Awesome.
But then again, I started off, like I mentioned, in Livestream Studio, where you could like do overlays and tickers and stuff like that. And in the Producer, you can't do any of that. It's literally, it takes in what your camera is seeing and spits it back out onto live stream. So there's like no fancy hootie watts. But if you use OBS and you know how to use Photoshop or even like any of the like online photo making software, you can make overlays. You can make PNGs that have like a transparent background with your logo. So they can put your logo in the bottom corner. You can like really brand your videos using OBS, which you can't do in Livestream Producer.
Exactly, yeah. That really helps us too, because you can do different overlays, being like live streaming soon, and so like say that there's a delay of your live stream somehow that's happening, or like you're just starting and like people aren't like necessarily ready yet, but you want to like make sure everyone knows like, hey, we're here, we are going to live stream soon. You can have, you know, that audio out, the camera, whatever the camera's picking up in the background, and then just saying like live streaming soon or stay tuned or something like that. And that's also very helpful to keep people engaged so that they're not dropping off at the beginning of the video.
Yeah, like I have to say, like Howlround, if you miss your like stream time, then it kind of automatically defaults to like the event has already happened. It just kind of like that. So people might be tuning in even if you're like running 5 minutes behind because of seating or whatever. And then they're like, oh wait, I missed it, you know. Right. But if you have that overlay, if you're just like, I can mute my my volume on my audio input so that people aren't listening to a bunch of people like climbing upstairs and rustling in the seats and like getting ready or whatever. It's helpful to have that overlay so you can just go and have it at the right time.
Right, it's like we're here, we're gonna do the thing, and we're fine. You just tune in, leave it up, go get yourself a cocktail, and come back and when you're ready.
Yes, yeah.
For sure. Yeah. OBS is really, really good. I do know though that like sometimes, I don't know if this is still true, but sometimes with the software updates as well, you do have to like watch and make sure that they're still compatible.
Software updates.
Those software updates on no matter what, you gotta keep up with that.
You.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the rundown of the equipment needed.
One thing that I thought of while we were talking
yeah
is it's sound related. So if you're playing copywritten music in your like pre-show, you're gonna want to definitely mute that for live streaming. That's just in general, or like Howlround will have to mute it for you. But I think they prefer not to do that. I think they but that's like also internally in your show, if you've got copywritten music, like you're gonna have to do something, right, Dillon?
Yeah, so what happens with that, mostly you'll see it whenever, because we also will simulcast to Facebook. And so what happens with that is that Facebook will automatically mute your video. So all you will see is the visuals, and we have to go in there manually and like choose the button that says mute this part of the video only. So whenever it's in the archive, you can still like watch and hear everything, except for like those small portions where the copywritten music is. And I'm pretty sure that's the same for YouTube as well.
Oh yeah, YouTube, they get you. They've got that really good like skimming software that is like listening to everything to make sure you're not, and rightly so. Like those artists deserve to be credited and paid. Yeah, so it's a consideration when you're doing a show, especially an original show, and you have the opportunity maybe to hire an artist that's local to like make that live score soundscape for you. I would make that choice if you're planning on archiving it or broadcasting it later, because then you don't have to deal with royalties and copyrights and all of that jazz.
Exactly. Support your local musicians and sound designers.
Yes, and here in Austin especially, we have so many of them, and they would be thrilled to be hired to do a little project like that for you.
Absolutely, so good. And we do kind of keep bringing this up a little bit of talking about new works. If we're ready to move on from the equipment part,
let's do it.
Part. All right. So yeah, we keep bringing up new works often because that we're going into copyright that way as well, right?
Yeah.
So this is live streaming works best whenever you're trying to show these new works and making sure that yeah, like you're not showing off copywritten stuff because you can get, cease and desist from the playwright like foundation if the playwright has passed away. Copyright laws are
the agent, the person that like has published the work, all of these people.
Absolutely, everyone can be on it for you. And also like the way that Howlround works is that we use a Creative Commons license so that it's open to the public. Anyone can reblog it, reuse it, just as long as we, as the streaming producers, the video producers are credited, and whatever other credits are there as well. So if it has like come to a time where like playwrights may not be very open to doing that because they want to have their stuff published or produced later on. So definitely be in dialogue with your player in that.
Yeah. Definitely like on our end, that's a conversation that we have before we've even done the contract. We let them know that that is like in the stars that we want to live stream it. And in terms of like, say, Gabriel Jason Dean with Heartland, when we last did it, he was cool with us broadcasting it, but then he didn't want it archived. And you should know that Howlround does archive the streams. So I worked it out with Howlround that we would only do the live broadcast, but that we would do extra work to make watch parties and like get the viewership up. So we did a lot of work with some collaborators in different states, and we had like big watch parties everywhere. So that's something that you would work out with Howlround, but you'd have to have that conversation with like everybody if that's what you're planning on doing.
Yeah, exactly. And we're definitely like open to those kind of things. Like we within Howlround values, like we do prefer to have these things readily available to the people or to the audiences and everyone for you. But yeah, like it is not an exception to any sort of rule or anything that we have to be like, hey, like we can do a live stream but no archive. Like that is not as common as we would prefer, but it is something that can happen.
Yeah.
And we can even do private live streams as well. That's a little bit more rare for us to do. It's more of...
I've heard of it. Do tell.
Yeah, yes. They're like private events where we have parties and things.
Speaking my language, okay.
Yeah, yes. So yeah, we one example that was relatively recent, there was a Cambodian touring company, and their only stop in the United States was in Boston. And also like with the government of Cambodia, as it is like kind of being, I don't know all the details, but there were some things where like we are unsure if we can have the safety of artist rights in back home in Cambodia as you would here in the States. So they were also worried about, you know, broadcasting stuff with the material that they had. So we were able to through one of the another one of the Arts Emerson folks scheduled out like different watch parties with, you know, Asian American affiliations around the United States, coordinated the watch parties and gave them a link to the private live stream, so they just tuned in that way. And so there was no like public facing, like no Facebook, it wasn't even on howlround.com, like it was just the private link that you had.
That is so cool. And that, I mean, I really love Howlround because y'all hold to your values so closely, like you really stick to them so well. And that is something that means a lot for the communities that you're streaming to. And like keeping the actors and the artists and everybody safe. Like that's incredible.
Yeah, we definitely think of everybody first. You know, not and like the reason that we, you know, we call ourselves a commons is because we want everything to be shared equitably between everybody, but like also realizing that different communities hold different privileges and we need to like keep everyone accountable as well. So that's definitely different ways of us being amenable and accountable to ourselves in keeping that mission of equity.
I love it. I love it so much. So that kind of like brings me away from the live streaming and more towards like, what are y'all doing in this time? This is such an uncertain time. I assume that most, if not all of you are working from home. I hear that things are pretty bad in the Northeast with transmission. How is Howlround planning on moving forward for who knows how long this situation is going to last?
Right, yeah. So to give everyone a little bit of, I guess, update on us, I know the state of Massachusetts has been in an official state of emergency for at least 2 weeks, if not 3 now, because of like all the different cases. Most schools have completely shut down and are either moving remotely or just canceling classes outright altogether. And Howlround is based at Emerson College. We are in the Office of the Arts. So that, like, the reason I bring that up is because it greatly affects us as well. Even though we are kind of our own autonomous-ish body. So we... Yeah, so it was a little bit of a thing of like, okay, like, are we going to shut down? Are we not going to shut down? Okay, we have to go and work remotely. It can't be business as usual. Like, what can we do? So you'll see that essay that I mentioned earlier about the ways of gathering, we released that last week. Before, like, it was like one of those things where like, okay, we see places that are shutting down, having to close down. We need to get this out because we, you know, it's definitely in our values to be a resource for folks and to be able to highlight the fact that we have these resources and we can use them for everybody. And so we have definitely seen an uptick in our pitches, in our on it, because on our website there is a link called contribute content, and it's just like a way to participate. And so, you know, if you want to write an essay for us, if you want to produce a podcast, if you want to live stream an event, that's the way to do it there. And so recently we have been getting a lot of questions, and even sometimes like just questions of like, I want to try and live stream a workshop, or like I need help with what kind of equipment or things that I need. So we've been having like a lot of those questions, fielding those questions. And then also, like, if we're talking live stream specifically, having a lot of things change very rapidly on like what they're going to do. Like one recent live stream that we're supposed to do is at Kansas City Rep. They have their Origins KC Fest, which is a New Works festival that happens every year, or for the past 5 years. And we were supposed to live stream that. Unfortunately, they did have to cancel all of their in-person conferences. And so what they did is they still had their keynote speaker, Todd London, and something very similarly to what we're doing now, where we're on a Zoom call. That's what they did, the Kansas City Rep and Todd London. And he just delivered his keynote there and just live stream it remotely from his home. So that has been like one of the big things that we're seeing a lot of like, okay, we still want to like conference, but we need to have these things be readily available and like in the best safety, like in the interest of safety and health of everyone involved.
Yeah, and I really feel you talking about the rapidity of how fast things are changing. We went into this past weekend. On Friday, the gathering cap in Austin was 2,499. Right. So they had canceled South by Southwest, and you know, they were saying that gatherings of that size and under, you know, were still okay. And then on Saturday, it was taken down to 250. And then on Sunday, it was taken down to 50. And then on Monday, we had a staff meeting saying, look, we see this on the horizon. Like, they're going to keep lowering this. It's like playing limbo with the gathering cap. And rightly so, like, I just want to state, like, this is all for people's safety, and we totally understand. But also, people got to earn money. So we were hearing our staff and saying, if you still want to work, if you still, because we run the Butterfly Bar as part of our venue, if you still want to work and feel comfortable doing so, then like go ahead and do that. But if you want to go ahead and stop at this point because you're worried, that's also an option. But it's looming on the horizon that it's going to be a shutdown. Like, we don't think we're going to last a week. And sure enough, the very next day on St. Patrick's Day, like by noon, it was cut down to gatherings of 10. And so that effectively closed our venue. So day by day by day, the situation was rapidly changing. It's really hard to roll with the punches when stuff is coming at you like that. And I really feel so deeply for the artists and the venues and the bars and the restaurants, which, you know, right now in Austin, it's still okay to get pickup or takeout. And I should say also that like Patrizzi's is doing pickup service, and you should go and have some handmade pasta, because those folks are still getting a paycheck, and who knows how much longer that's gonna last.
Right.
Yeah, but I feel bad for all of the bar employees who missed out on South by Southwest, and that is like 25% or more of some people's income in Austin for the year.
Right. Yeah.
Bank on that time.
Absolutely. Yeah. I got that notification, and like even my parents, who still live in Central Texas, like they texted me and, did you hear that they canceled South by Southwest? Like, this is such a big deal. Like, and you know, just talking to folks and being like, yeah, like knowing about like how much income this is for people. And then also knowing about the hotel tax that helps subsidize the art subsidies and grants for the city. Like, that is going to be such a big hit for that as well. So it's definitely some daunting and uncertain times. I do want to lift up though that there was a group of folks who almost immediately started they made a Google Doc about like emergency funds for freelance artists.
Yeah.
And then it was on Monday, I believe. It all came together very, very quickly. But on Monday, so the people who like crowdsourced that document, they turned it into a website, and then they had a live stream panel that we did on Howlround. It's also a part of that list that I gave you.
Yeah, I went ahead and put that in the comments. So if you're watching right now and you're looking for resources, like check out the comments, because I put links to all of these articles and archived live streams like in the comments list.
Yeah, and so that was like really, really amazing. It was it's also ASL interpreted, and there were live captionings. I don't know if we have captions in the archive video, but I'm 75% sure we do, because that's how we are. Yeah. Yeah, and so there are just a bunch of folks from the TCG, the Theater Communications Group, to the National Endowment for the Arts, like all of these like big granting folks, as well as like individual artists who have crowdsourced these resources specifically for freelance artists. So that is something widely available. It does tend to be more big city centered, like, you know, New York, LA, those folks. But there definitely are some like more national and like broadly sourced like grants and things like that you can check out.
And if you're in Austin right now and you're looking for resources, NALAC has like a running list of resources for people that are in our area, and some of them are national because they've made it open source, so people can like throw in national resources. But a few of them apply to Austin, and also the Austin Creative Alliance is doing like you can apply for relief as an artist who lost their income during South by Southwest. Now, they also need donations. So if you see this and you're not an artist, but you are still earning an income and you have money to spare, you can donate to help cover some of the costs that people have lost, having lost work during South by Southwest. I think I saw John Reedy posting about it earlier today, and he said, well, they had about $12,500 in funds to give, and they've had about $38,000 in requests. So, and that was like pretty soon after the application opened. They need funds. And, you know, I know that Austin's a tech city and we are Texans and we have big hearts. So if you have anything to give, please like search out some avenues to help the local artist. They make like a huge part of our economy here in Austin. We are the live music capital of the world. So we say that we're not just musicians, we're performers as well. So
yeah, absolutely. And also like 100%, like, let's support our artists, and we need to, and like a lot of us artists, especially freelance artists, they're having like multiple jobs, so they can have multiple incomes and things like that. And so like we know that folks who are working in the service industries are being hit just as hard with this as well. So then thinking about like food banks, food distribution services, different ways to like, you know, make sure that like people can eat, because that is also another thing that's affecting a lot of people. There is a place or a service in New York. It's called the Okra Project, and they specifically serve Black trans folks. That is a very specific like hard line that they are only serving Black trans folks. But the kind of model that they do have is very, very easily to replicate, and they actively encourage you doing that. And so like what the Okra Project does is they provide groceries and meals to people, to Black trans folks who are experiencing like food insecurity.
That is amazing. Mm-hmm. And it also reminds me, so a little like homegrown story here for what's mm-hmm. happening with the Vortex. I mentioned that Patrici's is still open, mm-hmm. and their staff is still working to do takeout and delivery. Mm-hmm. Nick Patrizi, who owns Patrici's, has thrown a lot of his money into a new project, which is opening up right across the street from us, called Vic and Al's. And it was slated to open within this month. And of course, they've had to kind of postpone the opening, but he's thrown a lot of money into it, and I feel really bad for him. But being the big-hearted person that he is giving out free meals to people through that restaurant that is not opening. He recognized that this is like an incredible time in many people's lives, and there's a lot of uncertainty, and people might have to choose between paying their rent and buying groceries. And so he has set up like the first 3 days of meal pickup, that you come and get a meal. You have the option to buy a bottle of wine, you know, like you do, but you can come and get a free meal. It's valid. Take your comfort where you can in these times. And I have put the sign up for that in the chat line as well. Now, he is very concerned with the health and safety of his workers. So they're only allowing a very limited number, I think like 5 people in the restaurant at a time to pick up. Mm-hmm. So you have to sign up for a slot. And it's like 5 people every 10 minutes or so. I'm not really sure. But that link will tell you all of the information that you need to know. If you're really desperate and you need food, or you know somebody that's desperate and needs food, please share this widely.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I definitely like encourage, like we were saying, you know, those of us who are fortunate enough and privileged enough to have a steady income on salary and being able to work from home, like try and find, like, talk to other folks, like try and like replicate these models the way that we can, just so that like people have, you know, food to eat and keep you know, roof over their heads, and like even small things that can happen in any way. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, if you're still in a place that you're able to be mobile and like drive around, the homeless population right now is, you know, getting scared about what happens if there's an outbreak in their community. Yeah. If you have extra hand sanitizer, if you have like sanitizing wipes or whatever, consider making care packages that you can literally just drive around and drop to people without even getting out of your car. You know, that kind of effort is really appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because this is definitely like something that, you know, I guess silver lining out of all of this is that we're really coming back to community care, and the fact that we are the ones who will take care of us, and like we have to make sure that everyone, even especially the most vulnerable in our communities, are the ones who are taken care of first. And we're like, I'm definitely seeing that. I'm seeing that galvanized everywhere, and I think that's like just amazing, and like definitely shows like the wonderfulness of humanity in certain ways.
Yeah. You know? There's a bunch of panic buying, but also there's a bunch of like, love and support, and you know, virtual hugs out there. So
yeah, absolutely. We're just trying to do the best that we can with the resources that we have.
So, like, none of us know how long this is going to last. Could the curve like happen really fast? It might, but we all have to prepare for something that might be really long term. And what does that mean for organizations that have a venue? You know, we can't just like go on pause. We have to kind of like make a monetary plan to stretch those funds and see how long we can go.
Yeah. Like one good example that I heard of like that like specifically like performance venues, like theater venues, doing like they are the larger ones are definitely like capitalizing of like charging full ticket prices for their actors, and like they'll just live stream the shows like that, which is fine.
Yeah,
that's the business model.
Sure.
Also capitalism, that's a whole other thing that we could talk about. But like, you know, like things like this, like what the VORTEX is doing, where they're like holding these slots, where you know, you can have, you know, different content of like a conversation like this. I saw that you all did a live stream yesterday, and you're going to do some other live streaming, like re-showing of streamings again.
Yep.
And then definitely like maybe add a little bit extra onto that. Like maybe if you see that, let's whatever like show you're watching, have the artist's Venmos on something, or like the like
Yes!
yeah, like some like, and anybody who's involved, like do it. And so like maybe you're just dropping like $5 into their Venmo or something, but like for freelance artists, like that's like, you know, McDonald's, that's meal. You know?
And so, like, we are offering stipends for people that are performing and like doing a bunch of work to do our original content. A lot of people have turned it down, but I also encourage, you know, I know that you're trying to be like nice to the people that are giving you money right now, but you might need it, so take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Offering you some, like, even if it's just a little bit, $50, like that's groceries, you know?
Right?
Yeah.
So true. Yeah. So definitely like I think there are definitely like different ways that like other theaters, other producing bodies and institutions, like there's so many different options that we have, and like different ways, and not necessarily to make it mandatory, like, oh, if you want to watch our content, you have to pay us to do it. It's like, no, like you can have it be an option. And a lot of the times people are more likely to donate and to give money if it is an option in that way and not making it mandatory.
Yeah, I felt really weird about charging like a ticket price for some of this content that is just kind of you know, thrown together. It's
yeah, that's real.
you know, I want to give a shout out to all of the artists that were in Selfie a Musical that were set to load in on March 15th. Bonnie was directing. It was ready to go. We were bringing in 4 people from New York. The person that wrote the show and was like the lead singer, and then her band, and they were like the main component of the show. It became really clear, like the day before load in, that things were going down, and that New York was in a really bad state, and that if they came down here, we might be closed, like, and they wouldn't get to do the show, which here we are, you know, and B, they might get stuck here and not be able to get back home for who knows how long. So for the safety of everyone and just in all those considerations, we had to postpone the show. But they put all of that work in, like up to the very last minute. That show was ready to go. And I know just like across America and across the world, there are artists that put everything they had into their productions, and now they can't do the thing. Like they're on the precipice and they're ready to go and they can't do the thing.
Yeah.
And that is so frustrating.
Absolutely.
But, you know, there will be your time. The time will come.
Absolutely.
I've begun thinking of like 2020 as maybe the year that wasn't. I wonder how folks are going to look at this in the history books. Like, what does this year look like? It still is yet to unfold. But especially artistically, things are just getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. And for some people, they're not going to be able to remount their show. They're not going to have those resources. So I take it, and I really feel for them.
No, yeah, absolutely. And I think I've been going back and forth, right? Like people have been joking online, and like, you know, memes being passed around of like, well, when Shakespeare was in a plague, like he wrote King Lear. And it's like, yes, definitely, if this is like the kind of time and the kind of thing that you need as a person, and like you can produce these artistic works and like produce new content and things, by all means, that is amazing. Kudos to you. So dope. But also, like, for those of us and who have had these projects lined up that are not going to be realized now, like, please take the time to mourn that. Like, be able to go through all of those emotions, be like, we were like ready to do these things, and this sucks, and like this may not happen, and there's just like so many unknowns happening after that. And like, please, by all means, like take care of yourself, but also like realize that like that is a big thing. That's a big impact. And like, especially like us as artists, like we already put ourselves in like into places of vulnerability in so many different ways. And like we get that release, you know, within performance or within whatever the work is, and for that to be taken away is a big hit. So like definitely take out yourself. Don't feel pressured or stressed that like I have to do something else to be able to have to like prove myself as an artist, to prove myself as whatever. Like take these grants and these different opportunities up, and like don't I guess like don't fall under that guise of capitalism that you have to have product to be worthy of whatever these basic human needs are, because you do deserve it. You're an amazing artist, you're an amazing person, and you deserve like those basic needs met. So like don't worry about producing if that is not like what is up for you. If that is not for you right now, maybe a little bit later, sure, why not revisit it, know yourself, but like just try and take care of yourself like as a human, and like try and trust. I know it's hard sometimes, but try and trust that like community is around you and that we will be able to take care of you as well.
That's right. Like those projects that you had that were just like ready to light up and go, like those are still fertile grounds. Mm-hmm. But you don't have to like kill yourself to make that perfect play or keep working it to the ground. Like when we're in this kind of fallow time of being home, this virus likes stress, you know? So this is a time to like really take those moments in, to refill your artistic well, to connect with the people that you don't get to see very often and talk to. You know, you don't have to just like create, but also like know that there's so many people out there that are in the same boat. And I think we as a global community, we are here for each other, and we're going to make a lot of stuff happen. And our society is going to change. Like something like this, I don't know that anybody alive right now has ever faced a situation like this. Like even 9/11 did not affect the world in the same way that it is affecting us now. So who knows what the other side of this is going to look like. But, you know, theater is like one of the oldest professions, and we're going to last, you know, we're going to be here, we're going to get through this, and we're going to break new ground because we are those creative thinkers.
Absolutely. That actually, okay, so ready on to the next topic then, of like the future of like what creation and what theater and storytelling might look like.
Yeah.
Which I'm like super stoked about. So let's talk about the visual element, right? So what we're doing right now.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Like live streaming.
I didn't know how to do this. I didn't know what I was doing. I contacted Dillon and I was just like, so you want to do this? He's like, let's do it tomorrow. It's like, I got to figure out the technology.
We got to like figure out shit first. Yeah. And here we are doing the thing. It's great.
Doing the thing. And I should put together a little like step-by-step guide about how to do this, because it's actually really easy, but you have to know where to click and what to do and where to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think we've seen like such an uptick in like Google Hangouts and Zoom and FaceTiming, Facebook Live, IG Live, like all these things. You know, from everything from like meetings, like working, having to do those things, from like virtual happy hour. Cheers, I was just at one, it was great. So definitely like being able to use the technology that we have to create and to have that to be able to display and show our works to the world as well. There was so tonight on Howlround, we were live streaming something from La Mama, the experimental theater in New York. And they are amazing. They do some really, really great camera work. And the way, and like the ways that they can get like their mobile cameras into and interact with the actors on stage, they can do like fantastic work. So they, yeah, like
Bravo is like one of those shining theaters that the VORTEX looks up to, and definitely, you know.
Right, yeah, absolutely. So like I would check out that resource, like so that theaters, like maybe the ones who do have like some of the bigger budgets that like can have multiple cameras that are mobile and stuff, like check them out, so you can see kind of how it's done and how you can get the different angles and like still have the like the theater aspect out of it, the quality of that, but then also to be able to have people view it and still be safe in their homes and like not spreading the stuff.
I was thinking a lot about the last TCG that I went to, which is Theater Communications Group. For people that don't know what that is, it's a big national, international, like theater organization, because people come in from all over the world. But I went to a conference last year. It was in Miami, and I participated in like a breakout session where I can't remember the theater who did it, but who like made a 360 virtual immersive performance of Hamlet. And it was just like a little part of it, or scenes of Hamlet. It was a very condensed version, but they created the environment for it. And because they did it with a 360 camera, and you could put on the like VR headset, and you had the sound and the visual right in front of you, it was very immersive. It was incredible, and yet it was still theatrical. It was in a space where it was obviously a theater. It wasn't trying to be a movie set. It wasn't trying to be real life. But I think of that and I go, wow, like what are the possibilities? And of course, like my computer is listening to me all the time.
All
the time. So like last night I was getting a bunch of ads for this new like projection mapping projector that has like all of that stuff built in, and I was like, I really want that right now. Like I want to like, map my stuff out, and I want things to like pop out of the other things. I want animations. Like I'm into the tech. Like
yes, it's amazing.
Back when we did Spirit, I think it was like 2014, we were gonna try and do some like projection mapping in that show, and we were just like ahead of the curve. Like it was possible, but it was like thousands and thousands of dollars possible.
Right. Yeah.
They're now making technology for people like me that we could figure it out. So I just want to make cool things, and I want people to enjoy them in like a multitude of ability, you know?
So good. Yeah. And then also like on the flip side of that, thinking of just audio. Audio fiction, radio plays.
Oh, I love that.
They're so good. They're so amazing. So I think like that is also like another step that we're going towards, especially since like podcasts have just blown up. Like there are very few people that I know, at least in my circles, who do not listen to podcasts or have not at least listened to a podcast in their time. And so also on Howlround right now, we have one of our current podcasts that's going is called Adventures in Audio Fiction. And it's different theater practitioners who are doing audio fiction podcasts. There's like one called Time.
I'll get a glass of wine and let you figure out what that was supposed to
be. Thank you. We're gonna look at that one right up real quick. It's fine. I think it's like Time. There's also like well, it's about the like these Puerto Rican kids who are going on adventures, and it's like specifically for young audiences, and it's young theater.
Very familiar to me. Wait, it sounds familiar to me, and like I thought it was a book. Is this
Time Storm? Sorry.
No.
No. It's like pure audio fiction. Like it is an audio fiction podcast. It's called Time Storm. And so it's like just very engaging. It's meant for young audiences, about like these adventures that like these kids are going on because they're time travelers, but they're also like trying to figure out their place as like young kids and like growing up in New York, but also being Puerto Rican and like seeing their family in different iterations of their life. And so it's amazing. It's mind-blowing. So Adventures in Audio Fiction, they like that host talks to the producers and writers of Time Storm. So like they're like audio fiction is like such a like both burgeoning and like a coming back to the tradition of audio fiction. And
that is
like
what I feel like, you know, we're going, what's old is new again.
Yeah.
And it's because of technology. Like, we love stories, and we're also busy, you know, we have a lot of commuting time and all of that jazz, and we want to fill the space with something that's like interesting. And who knows, maybe that will change too. Like, what will come out of all of this thing, and it's like 80% of our society now works from home. Like, what is
maybe who knows, but yeah, so like also like theaters, I would and artists definitely encouraging you of like, okay, yeah, like there's the visual element, but sometimes the visual element can be like extremely costly, because like as we just like we're talking about with like the camera equipment, the internet things that you need, the software, the computers, like all that can stack up really, really easily. So maybe then being able to like scale it back, and like as long as maybe you have like really good audio equipment, then you can record a podcast, you can record a radio play or some audio fiction.
So do you know of the Parsnip Ship?
Yes. Yes. Shout out to the Parsnip Ship. Y'all are amazing.
I love the Parsnip Ship, and I'm going to post their link in the chat.
Yes, please and thank you. Yeah, for you, those of you who don't know, the Parsnip Ship is a podcast that does play readings in a very basic sense. That's what they do.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. It's fantastic. It's just like a different medium to be able to like have writers get their work out and like to be able to hear it. It's so amazing. It's so good. You can hear so many new works.
Wonderful. And so we had to postpone the next 2 upcoming shows, and probably more than that, but we're just like calling those 2 for sure. Annie Jump in the Library of Heaven by Raina Hardy was a theater for young audiences performance that was a rolling world premiere through NNPM. Right. And like all of the performances of that have been postponed. But at one point earlier, she did a reading with the Parsnip Ship. So feeling that Annie Jump in the Library of Heaven, you can go to that website and like look at the archive.
Yes, that's so good.
No. I don't even want to say, like, there are things brewing. There are things happening.
Ooh, intrigue.
Parsnippy things.
Parsnippy things that are brewing.
Yes.
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 So good. Yes. So I think I am very excited, even though like all this is happening, like there's going to be like such a renewal of different types of storytelling. And right. I think as long as we all have our basic needs met, like, because that's always 100% going to be my first concern, is like I want everyone's basic needs met first, like healthcare, food, shelter, all that stuff. Then we can have the storytelling part, and like that's the part that's going to be like revitalize us and bring us together as community. And I think the ways that those stories are going to be told are, I think we're going to see like a different chapter in that. I'm super stoked.
Yeah, and you know, I feel like we can find a way to have our needs met and the storytelling element, and perhaps the storytelling element will help us get our needs met. Like, people give when they know what they need to give to. Like, if you don't have your story out there, then you're just like living in a shadow. You might as well not exist. So artists are the best equipped to get their story out there, and that's what we're gonna do.
That's and also like get other stories out too. Like,
yes,
I mean, that's what we do as theater artists, is like we may tell our stories. Like, that is definitely at least within my intersections, like we like are you a queer and trans theater artist if you haven't written a one-person play?
I must have my solo show.
Right. But then yeah, like also being able to tell the stories of other people and being able to embody them and to give them voice and stuff like that, and like out of like the most marginalized of us, like, and that's like, to me, that's like the beauty of theater and why I do theater. Yeah, and it's like little... Ah, yes.
So good. Do you want to talk a little bit about the New Green Theater and what that's about?
Yeah.
We had mentioned it, and we don't have to spend a ton of time on it.
So okay, so there is, I don't know exactly if it's still gonna happen. This is gonna happen. So something that I can briefly mention that Howlround is doing, we are in partnership with, it's kind of like a sister organization in Canada. They are called Spiderweb Show. And we are currently attempting a green convening. They were Spiderweb Show was able to get a lot of funding from the Canadian, I forget what their national arts funding organization is called. But they so what is happening is there's going to be a large convening that everyone is going to participate in, that's for theater specifically. But instead of everyone coming just to one location, you're going to have satellite locations. So there's going to be like, you'll just go to like whatever province you're in, you'll go to that major city where it'll be. And I want to see that it'll also be a couple cities in New Zealand and Australia as well. And so then we'll use technology like Zoom, live streaming, things like that to be able to interact with each other that way, as you would in a normal like conference convening setting. And the main purpose of that is to compare carbon footprints, to see like what the carbon footprint is to bring in all of those people into like one major location, as opposed to like having it in the satellite cities. Because one thing, while like, yes, 100% technology is amazing, like being able to do live streams and video calls and conferences like that is amazing. It actually does have a large carbon footprint as well. If you think about all the major servers and things that are constantly going, the energy, the electricity, the things like that they're using to be able to power all of this is actually also quite large. So yeah, like they're as best as we can, we're gonna like compare and contrast the two to see like, can you actually have a greener convening than like with using technology or using like in-person convenings. So
yeah, that is really cool. And I know that like Network of Ensemble Theaters this year was doing their like micro mini fest, which was like all over the place, but they were actually asking people to come and participate as they could. So they weren't asking everybody to come everywhere, but they were kind of holding it regionally so that people that were local could really attend, which I find really awesome. Of course, all of this has been put on hold.
Yep.
But I also like wonder in the future, you know, you look at the pollution levels right now and how they've dropped significantly, even over a couple of days, when people are not sitting in that gridlock traffic, and what it might mean for like when we schedule our shows, you know, and how, especially in Austin, because Austin has like some of the worst traffic in the nation. We only have really two main through lines of traffic for a rapidly growing city.
Right.
So even if you schedule your show for 7:30 or 8 o'clock, like, you know, what does that mean for sitting in traffic? It can be bad, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think so, like there is like one main point that I do want to address with this is the because there are a lot of people who are like, oh, you see, humans are the problem, we're just the worst, blah blah blah. And it's like, well, actually it's capitalism and like the society that we're living in is the one that are the people that is the force that is driving like the horrible ecological situation that we are currently in, the climate crisis that we're currently in, because it's been proven that indigenous folks can save us and have saved the earth and are stewards of the earth.
And like when you look at history and like the Industrial Revolution as it kind of rolled over the world, like how people go through like these periods of horrible like dysentery and cholera and like pollution and death, and wow, it is not a good scene, folks. Like, sure, you get to the other side where, you know, you've supposedly reached this like higher level of society and you've got your industry going, but I don't know, like the industrialized countries are doing nothing to help the countries that are in that position of transition. And that's one of the things that bothers me, is that, you know, they're just letting people deal with their disease and pollution. And I'm sorry, but like your pollution an ocean or two away from me still affects me. It affects the earth. And it affects, unfortunately, it affects the most marginalized like people greatly, you know?
Yeah. So. Yeah. And so like, I think I mean, obviously there's like the grand, like structural societal things that'll have to happen, but like thinking about what we can do at our level, at like the artist level, the institutional level. I mean, I think the VORTEX is like an amazing example, right? Because you're a butterfly sanctuary. Like, that's amazing. That's so cute and adorable.
We recognize butterfly gardens. So most of the plants that are planted in our garden are for local, like specific butterflies. It's their food.
Yes, it's so good. It's so good. And then also
Alex Cogburn, who's like the monarch of monarchs.
Yes. Oh my God, that's so good. The monarch of monarchs. That's perfect. We love you, Alex. But also, yeah, like the VORTEX being like having both the recycling and the composting initiatives that you all have. And like it's so you've done it in a way that it's so easy to use. Like even like with Patrizzi's, and like everything there is compostable that you can get pretty much.
Yes.
Like it's like I don't have to think about it. Even if I accidentally like throw it into the landfill thing, it's going to be composted anyway, because it's going to break down a lot easier than if we were doing things with styrofoam.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, so like you want to like consider those greenhouse gases that are created in a landfill by stuff like just rotting in that landfill, of course. But so just some like hints and tips if anybody else watches this, it's like in Austin or outside of Austin, look at your local government and see what rebates might be available for you if you're deciding to go green or go greener. Like if you've just been waiting on recycling because you don't have the resources to get a recycling dumpster or something, there might be something there that your city can help you with. And this might not be true for smaller towns, but still, like the VORTEX is always recycled, and you got to give some props to Bonnie Cullum. Like, since 1988, you know, Bonnie put the recycling in the back of her car or her truck or whatever vehicle she had at the time, and she took those recycling things to the actual recycling centers and took care of it. Like, she has always placed the earth and the environment as like number one, which is why it's like part of our core, you know, taking care of our environment. But definitely, we had been flirting with composting for a long time. And then I got an email from the city of Austin saying that they were giving some rebates. And I was like, now just getting Patrizzi's in. It was like around 2013, 2014. You know, we're setting up this new way that the VORTEX looks like while we're doing it. Let's compost. Let's get it taken care of. And if you have like meat or dairy or actually compostable forks or plates or whatever, that does create kind of a special situation where you need industrial composting. You need something that's going to be hot enough to really break down those materials. So we did decide to go with like an industrial composting company, but more and more of these like local mom and pop companies are like getting it together so that they can do that for you. So I would just look for your options and see what you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And even like the big industrial theater, or the institutional theaters, like there are so many ways like you can just try and work with your local government to do in like the most simplest of things. Like, yes, I know because we have a lot of like concessions, you know, maybe instead of using like the regular plastic that you're using, use a greener plastic, one that can that is already recycled, or that is compostable, something like that. You know, try and like have these different things and make sure that it's like a priority on you, that like maybe your artistic director isn't getting paid as much as they can be because some of that budget is going into making yourself a greener thing.
That's a thing.
That kind of is a thing. You shouldn't be making more than 6 figures. Just saying. Can you tell my politic lies?
I have no idea what.
Yeah, and I think that there are just like so many different ways that like you can kind of like, as we start to deconstruct from the capitalization model into more of a commoning model.
Yes.
You know, these are different ways that like we need to make sure that we are taking care of each other, but also taking care of the earth and the environment and like those people who have stewarded that throughout time. And I definitely like, I always talk about the vortex when we're like, well, like what's a good example of like commenting and like things to do, and I'm like, the vortex is doing it, and awesome, we're dope.
Thank you, Dillon.
Yeah.
You know, like one of our growing edges, though, I think kind of lies within our set building. That is a really hard place to stop that like waste that has to go into the landfill, because like once you like fabric, if you have fabric, you can compost it, because it's like, if it's natural materials, if it's like cotton or something,
right?
But once you paint on it, like you have to throw it away. So you know, when we strike a show, there's just stuff that has to go into that landfill, and I just keep trying to think of ways that we can reduce it.
I mean, y'all, you definitely have like a big advantage when it comes to sets, because you all do reuse wood and like set pieces and stuff so often, like break that stuff down. Like
we do.
I can't tell you how many theaters that I've been to, or like designers that I've known, and they're just like, yeah, new materials, here we go, blah, this is my thing. And I'm like, but you can like reuse some of these things, and like we don't have to throw it all the way at the end of strike. Like there are different things we can do.
Like sometimes I will say that has to do with space.
Of course.
Often that's like a huge issue, is like, where do you keep it? Luckily our scenic designer Anne-Marie works all over the place.
Yeah.
She uses the vortex as kind of her home for set pieces. And we are where set pieces go to like slumber.
Yes.
And then another days.
Oh my God, that's so true.
So, but we're not quite that like community scenic building place, which unfortunately, like Salvage Vanguard, which used to be down the street for us, they lost their space, and they had that like community scene shop.
Right. Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, that was a huge loss for our community.
Yeah, understandably so. And like, what this kind of like makes me hopeful for, and like wondering, especially like in this time where we are thinking more about community, are like ways that local companies can kind of like work together to have these things and to be able to steward. Like maybe somebody else can like start the scenic co-op, the scene shop co-op, like that would be really dope. Or like have like different communal spaces. That's obviously a lot easier said than done, because you know we are like, space is a thing, paying people are things, egos are also things.
Like there's always someone that has to manage the thing. You think, well, this will be just so easy, but just somebody has to be in charge with scheduling and putting things away so that it's not just like a giant Cthulhu mess all over.
Oh my God, yeah, that's so true though. That's so true. Yeah, like it is, yeah, definitely easier said than done, but like that is also like, I mean, at its very base, when we think of like the commons, like that's what it is. It's like this, like we're all agreeing to do this thing. We're going to steward this together, and like here's our resources, let's use it, and we're gonna all like in an equitable sort of way share it together. And I think there's so many different ways that can happen, and I definitely I look to Austin as being like one of those, like, I mean, some people will call it like one of those like crunchy granola hippie places.
I mean, I admit that our population of hipsters is pretty high. And yet, you know.
But it's also like, you know, there are definitely like this is the way that you can do things. I mean, there's a reason why Silicon Valley chose Austin, you know. It's like, oh yeah, all these ideas are happening, all this creative energy is here, like let's use it.
Let's capitalize on it and take advantage of all these creative minds.
Yes. But also like capitalizing on space and everything, and like that's a whole other thing that we can talk about, gentrification, whatever. But like, you know, that creative energy of like, yes, we can do this, we can revitalize, we can revolutionize things, is there, that you don't, at least in my current experience in the Northeast, like you don't really see. It's like, oh, well, these things have always been done. We try and like take care of our community, and we're like very separatist in certain ways. And it's like, but like, why isn't this theater talking to this theater? Oh, it's just like people.
Well, like, you know, like I think that in a way, what we're going through right now has brought the Austin community together in a way that even before it wasn't.
Yeah.
We're having like weekly Zoom chats, like with the small and medium, like artistic leaders. It's great. It's wonderful, but it's also scary. Like we're talking in order to not like slip off the abyss of fear and, and despair.
Oh, too real. Yeah.
But we're communicating in a way that we hadn't before. And it's so funny because, you know, like you'll go to a City of Austin workshop or something, you'll see a bunch of people there and you'll have this connection, and you'll be like, wouldn't it be great if someone did A, B, or C? And you're like, yeah, I've had this conversation before like 10 times, but
yeah,
it's that bandwidth thing. It's that payment thing. It's that like, I got to make my money doing a bunch of other stuff. And so I can't manage the thing that would actually benefit the community, like to its best sort of thing. You know, we're all just kind of scrambling. And maybe this is the time where we're just like, well, I'm forced to not do that. I'm forced to sit at home and like think of creative ways to get through this crisis and actually talk to other people.
Right, yeah, and to be able to like band together to be like, hey, we're gonna do this, but we're gonna do it together because we know that we need each other to get through all of this.
Yeah.
You hear that?
Yeah. Wow, what? It's almost 9:30.
What?
For you, it's almost 10:30.
No, it's early.
Like, I'm gonna go to another virtual chat like right after this.
I mean, I might. Who knows? There's like all sorts of like virtual parties and stuff happening. It's Friday night.
I'm gonna socialize online.
That's what we do.
Yeah, it's what you can do right now.
You're so true. I'm like a part of so many different like Slack channels and Facebook groups and stuff are like, we've got to get through this. What are we doing?
Facebook groups, yes. I can't do Slack. I don't know what it is. I think it's like one avenue of communication too many. Like I talk through too many channels and I'm like,
yeah, because it's like the main channel that you have and there's all like the sub channels and you're like, I'm trying to like keep up with this and like we're having weird conversations and like I'm
like, who did I say that to?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can definitely do like one major Slack channel at a time. Like, do not ask me to do any others simultaneously. I just
Oh no.
my older millennial comes through.
Yes.
Just like, I'm too old for this shit.
And so, whatever, you baby.
I know.
You baby compared to me.
Whatever. I'm not that much younger than you.
We won't get into it online.
We won't. A lady never reveals her age.
Yes.
Also, by the way, complete side note, this haircut is working. I love it so much. Congratulations.
Thank you. So I cut all the purple off because I was like, my roots are like long. It looks like almost gray, but it's purple. So I'm like,
ooh, okay.
I'm kind of into it. I'm a little bit Ursula right now, and I'm loving it.
Digging it.
Yeah. Holding that sea witch energy.
Yeah. Bring it in. That divine energy.
Yay. Well, thank you.
Now the rest of the conversation is just us.
It is. It's in public. It's fine. Hi.
Hello.
But you know, some people have been commenting that it's awesome. If you have any last remarks, like get them in there, and we'll just like chat for a while, because me saying this is probably like a minute from now it will show up on the internet.
Eventually will happen. It's
slow time right now. It's fine.
Right. Like we can.
And it's also Friday night. Like,
yeah, we can chill.
We've
both been drinking wine. It's great.
How was your happy hour before this?
Oh, it was great. It was so good. Just like a lot of folks being like, we're drinking what we're drinking, and we're getting through what we're doing.
Okay, question. So, like, going forward, if I were to do social something as one of these live stream things, what would you want? What would you, as a consumer, want to see as our social hour or 2 hours or whatever?
I'd be interested in something, if you could, at the Vortex in the garden. Like garden party or something. Or like, yeah, like even if it's just like, yes, like a happy hour where everyone is like just drinking, but like all the video of what you were showing is like the garden and like the kids and something like that. Yeah.
So the last event that we were able to hold was our garden party. It was our annual garden party. Did a bunch of planting. The crossvine is like going insane. So it's like flowers everywhere.
Yes.
I should just like go during the day and just like take pictures of all the beautiful flowers that are blooming. Yes. And like just do some like slow transitional background. What do you do? We can all have like, maybe Lindsay can throw up a few cocktail recipes ahead of time, and we can like all make them and then just like appreciate and drink together.
Yes, that would be amazing. Oh, that would be so good. I would love that. Yeah, I would love it. Because like that's one of the things for me with like working from home and like structuring my time and stuff. Like I'm structuring myself a lunch break. I do a stretch break in the afternoon. And then like after work, I go take myself on a walk. Which like go walk around my neighborhood, or if I have to like go to my like nearby grocery store, I'll just like go walk there. I'm very blessed. I live 10 minutes from a small beach. Right? Yeah, so I just like go and I will like either like walk or sit by the beach and like watch the dogs walk by.
It sounds amazing. Self-care, so important for these times, and we should enjoy it while we can still like go out of the house, and it's like not mandatory that we stay in.
Yeah, like it just did with New York. I saw that.
Yeah. So like today I was just like, I'm gonna get outside, and I didn't do that at all. So that's bad on me. But like, I want to enjoy that time before it's taken away.
Yeah, exactly. And especially like while weather is the way it is. I mean, today it was like a little bit rainy in the morning, but like it got into like the 60s, which
Oh,
like for the Northeast, that's hot.
well, we had a cold front move through, and so we had rain, and it was in the 50s. So
Ooh.
like, ooh, like unseasonably chilly. I had the windows open, and it was
Oh,
great.
that must be lovely. I mean, as you can see, I have my window open now.
But you have to, like, so in the Northeast with the whole radiator situation, like
Oh my God,
that
yeah.
is a vital balancing.
Thing right there.
You got to play that game, the radiator game.
Yeah, dude, you so do. Where it's like it's a little bit warm, and also like I live on the 3rd floor, so
So you
like
get the hottest of
all the
everything.
heat. Mm-hmm.
So when I lived in New York, I lived on the 5th floor, and it was a 5-floor walk up.
Oh God,
And
bless
so
you.
it was just like windows.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yep. Although your calves must have been.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Talk about like walking those groceries up the stairs. Those
Mm-hmm.
narrow, narrow stairs. Mm.
Oh my God, so true. So true.
Yes.
Oh goodness. All right. Have we got anybody?
Uh, Eva says it's early for Dillon. Yeah.
It is. I mean, she knows. Hi, friend.
Yes. Yes.
Um, yeah, I'm a night owl. I stay up late.
Yeah. So my brain kind of pinged on that self-care thing. Like I stayed up to 3 in the morning last night, just like working on things, like working on programming and whatever. But it's like I have no schedule now. I have to set myself something. I have to put an alarm on my phone. I don't know what I got to do, but I got to do something because
Yeah.
otherwise I am going to work at like my brain goes off at night. Like
Yep.
I'm a night owl.
Mm-hmm.
I will stay up forever.
We're doing all the things right now. Here we go. So true. Yeah. Like Google Calendar has been my best friend. Not only because like that's what the Howlround office uses, like that's how we update each other on what we're doing, but also like to be able to structure those times of like, okay, I'm doing social media from this time to this time. I am working on MailChimps from this time to this time. I have a meeting here. I have a meeting here. And that's why I'm like lunch. I have an event that's like lunch break here.
I do that, but I don't actually put the breaks in. Like I just schedule myself a solid day. And
Mhm.
then I'm like, oh, well, this is a time where nobody's emailing me. So I might as well just like, oh, you know.
Right, right. No, I highly encourage for you to explore that for yourself of like putting scheduled breaks.
Yeah. Schedule breaks. And I really think I need an alarm for my end time. Like, thou
Yeah.
shalt not do email after 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock or whatever I set for myself
Mhm.
because ooh,
Yeah.
nights.
Yeah. I mean, my one of my boos, um,
Oh,
he
one of
has
them, one of them.
once we're done with the live stream, we can get into that. Yeah, he has to take a lot of medications throughout the day, so he just has alarm set, and he's like, okay,
Yeah.
which alarm is this? Here we go. So like, yeah, I 100% work.
Honestly, when I have something important that I really need to do, I set an alarm because I have too many emails and too many people, like too many conversations. If I don't set an alarm for myself, it's just gonna fly right by me. Like,
Yeah, yeah, that's real.
no.
So real. Oh, Eva.
Eva!
I miss your face, Eva.
I
Oh, yeah.
know. We need to have like a hangout just for like us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe
Vortex reunion.
Yes. That'd be so good. I mean, I've been seeing that like pop up a lot of like friends just like, hey, you want to like Zoom together even though we're just like doing our work or we're like doing any sort of random things? Like, yeah, why not? Like, we're all at home stuck together, so why not? Yes, your face. I miss your face. It's so pretty.
You what? Why? You can't see it on the YouTubes. What?
In here. I have a perfect memory in here. Your pretty face. Yes, that pretty face.
That one?
Oh, goodness.
Oh, yes, we get to do the escapes.
Yes, the escapes. That'd be cute.
Great.
Oh my gosh.
I love lag.
So good.
We're living in the future, Dillon. Really, we're living in the future.
We really are, and it's amazing.
Folks don't know. They just don't.
Shout out to my friend Jess. If he's still watching, hey, what's up? I'm about to talk about you. Yeah, last night we did a live stream of a playthrough. And he so it's a game called Tartuffe Boyfriend. And it's a dating simulation game where you are a human in a attending a all-bird school. Yes, it's exactly as weird as it sounds.
Yeah. I want to experience this.
Yeah.
I want that experience.
Yeah, and so he and I did a playthrough where like he was playing remotely from his place. He's also located in Austin. But I was also helping doing some of the voice interaction with it. Because voices, we're actors, that's what we do. And so he and I were on a Zoom call, and that's how we were watching it. But then we were also live streaming it on Twitch, and like I had that on my phone, and so like I could see like the lag time of like how people were watching it and like what we were doing, and I was like, Jess, we're in the future. This is hilarious.
Got, like, 30 seconds in the future here before you even know.
Like it might be only a few seconds, but
Anything can happen.
Oh goodness.
Yes.
McDorky? I don't know who that is, but I love that name.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. You're welcome, Bonnie. I missed your face too.
Yes.
Yeah. There is a possibility of me visiting later in the summer. I mean, obviously with like all this travel stuff and things happening, I'm not 100% sure if it'll happen or not, but maybe. And I do want to see people.
Yes, please.
Like your face in front of my face.
Yes. In the
Bonnie's
same
face
room.
in front of my face. And like Emma's face in front of my face.
Yes.
And
someday we'll be able to meet in the same room and it'll be fine.
I mean, yeah, at least it's under 10 people for right now.
Yeah, so when was it? It was like Wednesday. We had called a meeting with like one other artist that had a show slated in our season that we wanted to meet in person. She was still like, yes, I want to do it. So we just like sat across the room from each other. We were like in corners, like in the bar, like
6 feet.
More than that. It was like 10, 12 feet away.
You never know.
We are distancing. We are very distancing.
Oh my gosh, I saw this one meme. I think it was like on Twitter or something, where somebody posted that their dad had texted like all the neighbors in the cul-de-sac for a social distancing beer. And so they're just like standing in front of their houses in the cul-de-sac.
Yes, I saw that too.
Drinking a beer and just like shouting at each other like, hey, bro, how's it going?
Yes. So like I live in an apartment complex and we all have our, well, in my block, like we all have our patios like facing out to the alleys together. And I want to do some kind of like singing thing, but I'm like,
right?
who are you?
Like, do you know your parts correctly?
That's right. Harmonies.
Like, we need this perfect here.
I won't do anything without having rehearsed first. I'm a perfectionist.
I have standards. I'm also
This
professional.
is gonna go on the internet, okay? It's gonna live forever.
Oh my gosh, do you know about the Nextdoor app?
No.
So Nextdoor app is it's like a neighborhood app where you can like connect with your neighbors, and it's like, you know, like if you want to like sell something, trade something, if you need services done, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, like getting like the online chat room at Nextdoor, being like, okay, neighbors, we're gonna sing One Day More from Les Mis. These are all your parts. This is where I'm going to perform it. This is what I'm going to do. Like, check into this live stream. Here we go. Done.
Yes. Yeah, let's do it. If Italy can do it, Austin can do it. Absolutely. I just think Italy in general, like
the entire country of Italy.
It happens somewhere.
That is like the entire state of California.
Basically. Basically. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
We can make things happen.
Absolutely.
We can make dreams come true. I've had 3/4 of a bottle of wine. No, I feel like Superwoman right now, and I can do
right there. That's where we're at.
Look at this. Look at that. Hey,
like, yeah, I have that little bit. So yeah, earlier when we had our check-in, we were like, yeah, I'm gonna be drinking wine. I don't know about you. Let's do this. In true VORTEX / butterfly bar fashion.
That's right. We have them drinks. And we drink, okay? It's fine.
Exactly. We know how to have a good time. It's fine.
Yes. If you've tuned into any of Jesus Ivias's Facebook lives, we do serious things and we imbibe.
We do indeed. Oh my gosh, like the entire intro of their last one with the tias, like the tia, like dropping that wisdom with the tequila and like the Copa de Mexicana, like
yes.
And the poppers, mira the poppers, the doble scorpion. Like, this is amazing. I need you to save these videos and we are gonna like put out some fucking art right now. It's gonna be great.
So Jesus has signed up. He signed up for to do a VORTEX stream. Yes. When is he doing it? Oh, on the 3rd of April. So stay tuned for that.
I am so excited. I'm definitely going to be tuning in.
He's going to be doing excerpts from his new show, which is supposed to debut at the VORTEX, but oh no.
It'll do it online. Yay.
That's right. Online.
Oh my goodness. Yay. That's exciting. Yeah. Can you just like real quickly go through like your lineup that you have ish, if you know?
Sort of. So I did a lot of work today trying to nail people down for the things that they said that they would do.
The hardest part.
And in general, I do have things.
Cool.
I will say that. So tomorrow, I have hiccups. Wine. Hi, wine.
That elephant in the room.
It is a thing. Tomorrow, Rudy is going to do astrology personality readings on folks. Facebook.
I love it. I can't wait to tune in. I wanna have them read me.
Oh yes, they shall read you so well. Sunday we're doing Pythia Dust, the 2015 version.
Amazing.
So Thursday, the 26th, we're doing Sing Muse. Oh God, I'm in the hiccup zone, y'all. Watch out.
Cheers to that.
Lord. On the 28th, which is a Saturday, Rudy Ramirez, Andrea Smith, and Jen Jennings is doing Drunk Steel Magnolias.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're reciting from memory Steel Magnolias while drunk. They're going to be in the hiccup zone with me right now.
I love this. I'm so stoked.
It's gonna
Those
be so
three.
it's gonna be so good. It's like drunk history on steroids. I cannot wait.
Oh my God.
Sunday the 29th is Changelings.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Rena Hardy. Yeah. Thursday the 2nd is Last. We're gonna do a rebroadcast of Last and Extinction Comedy, and Eva McQuaid is definitely gonna be on the YouTube chat with me. So
on the YouTubes. Yes.
On the tubes. Friday the 3rd is when Jesus is going to do a Bala Fruta Bullet Fruit preview.
Ooh.
Yeah, you want to tune in?
Yes.
Ooh, so Saturday the 4th, Blaze Ryson is going to do burlesque. Yes.
Yes, Blaze. All right.
Blaze, online burlesque by Blaze. Sunday the 5th, Pink Sun. Come and drink the Kool-Aid with us as we do this like very strange ethos show. On the 9th, I have slated Privacy Settings.
A good one. Timely.
Yes. And then on Saturday the 11th, I have Allegra Jade Fox. She's singing. She's doing with her band. So it's Jade and the Foxtones.
We love Jade and the Foxtones. We stand so hard.
Yeah. So Zoom style. We're going to try that out. And then I'm bringing one out of the vaults, 2001, The Deluge, on Sunday the 12th. And that was another lost show where it happened in September of 2001, right after the towers fell. Nobody came to this play, and it was a very good original performance. So bringing that out of the vault.
Amazing. That's good.
Ooh, hiccups. All right. Thursday, the 16th, we're doing Tartuffe, which was a summer youth theater performance. Very, very good. And then, okay, so the 18th of April is Bonnie's birthday.
Yes, it is. It sure is.
She's doing readings and rituals.
I'm so excited for that. Oh my God, I'm so excited for that.
Because it's Bonnie's birthday, I scheduled Oceana for Sunday the 19th, the day after, because Oceana, she is the Gulf girl. She is. Yeah. So I scheduled that way.
Yes.
And then Thursday, the 23rd, we're doing Atlantis.
Yes. Which one?
Friday the 24th, I'm bringing back Baba Yaga, and we're going to have like a dial-in Baba Yaga extravaganza. You get to interact with Baba Yaga.
Baba Yaga, I need some worldly advice.
Oh, I don't know if I can give it to you right now. Not in the right face. You have to wait till the 24th. Okay.
All right, I suppose I can.
You got to hold on.
Hold on to what?
Your lifeline, and don't tell me what it is. Don't want to know. Okay. On Sunday, we're doing Storm Still.
Yes.
Oh my God, and then on Thursday, we're doing Heartland, but I need to check in with Gabriel Jason Dean to make sure that he's cool with us live streaming it. Yes. And then on Sunday, I'm doing Lear, and Rudy will love that because Lear, that whole cast of Lear, it's wonderful.
Oh, yes.
And then on Friday the 8th, Christine Wong is doing solo storytelling. And then she's also on Saturday the 9th doing some storytelling with her daughter, Vanessa, for Mother's Day. It's going to be great.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing. That is such an amazing lineup.
Thank you. I'm still trying to like piece in some like dates here and there. I've got a whole bunch of people that are like, yes, I want to do a thing, but I have to like slot them into the time.
It's like, you can fit in here.
Yeah, exactly. Like, here's what's available. You go there.
Right, putting that managing directing to use.
Yes, I'm directing like little flags, like, here you go. That is where you
go. You go here, and you go here.
That is exactly what I'm doing.
So oh my God.
All right. I hiccuped my way through the last 10 minutes. Sorry, so this is gonna live on the internet forever, okay? All right, fine.
Or
glasses of wine and I hiccup, okay? It's a thing.
Like the first like hour is very like serious and informal and like very aware and in tune, and then the wine drunk hit in.
And then it's just like off the rails. I apologize. I'm not gonna watch the stream. I'm gonna live in how I think it went, which is like very professional and great.
All of you, my viewers.
My viewers, yes.
Oh, so good. So good.
Yes. Now, see, I have the like iced tea here waiting for me so that I could stop hiccuping when I knew I would.
Right, it will happen eventually. I mean, I do have my my water.
Oh yes.
He's responsible.
Barely touched though. Barely touched.
And then I also have some tea that's very cold by now in this really adorable mug.
What does it say? What is
Tutu fabulous.
Oh my God.
And they're pugs.
Pugs. Shout out to the pugs, folks.
Shout out to the pugs.
Yep. Very nice. Very nice.
The last 10 minutes is just going back and forth giggling.
Yes. Or cackling in my case. I tend to cackle.
Any kind of laughter, it's just happening.
The world.
Sometimes we got to create our joy where we can. So here we are.
We do. Cheers to that. Very good.
What are you drinking, by the way? What kind of wine is that?
I am drinking this bottle of Jean-Luc Colombo.
Ooh, that's cute.
Which is like the official wine of the Texas French consulate. Most people don't know, but I spent like a year and a half on the Alliance Française board of directors. They needed someone and I was like, I can help support you. And I went to a fundraiser and bought like half a case of wine from the French consulate. So,
like you do.
Like you do. And I'm still working off it. And I put a bunch out there for Christmas presents. And like, there's a bunch of consulate wine like floating around.
Right? I mean, might as well.
But I'm like, it's official. It's officially delicious.
Right? Yes. Yeah, because isn't Austin's sister city Angers?
Angers.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very random.
Sandy Donzica, who works at the VORTEX.
Yep. Yes. Yeah. I don't like, so like the very, very random way that I know that is, or that I like know of Angers just in general, is so one of my best friends from high school, his ex-college boyfriend studied in Angers for a year. And if that's not like a gay story, here we are.
6 degrees of Angers. There you are. There you
are. So true. In the interest of sharing as well, I'm drinking Cupcake. They're red velvet, which is one of my favorites. It's a slightly sweet red blend. And I'm usually not a huge fan of blends, but this one's good.
Okay, I'm gonna try it. I love a red wine.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
And my local liquor store has it for $11.
Woo!
That was okay. That was one of the weird things to get used to in Boston, and I'm guessing like Massachusetts in general, of you can only buy alcohol in liquor stores.
Right. So
Like,
I lived in North Carolina for a while, and they had a state-run liquor store called the ABC store. And I can't remember what it stood for, like Alcoholic Bureau of the Carolinas. I don't know, something like that. But
yeah.
literally, like the only place you could get liquor was at the ABC store.
Oh my God.
So I feel you.
Yeah. Yeah. Like within the first month of me living here, I looked up like a convenience store that was nearby, and there was literally one like around the corner from where I was living. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go like get some coconut water, and I'm gonna get like a 6-pack and like maybe some snacks. Like, here we go. And like I walk in and I'm like doing circles, and I'm like, where's the alcohol? I don't know. I guess I'm just getting my coconut water and my snacks. Okay, cool, fine. I like pay for myself and go. And then I like see my roommates and I was like, so alcohol. What do we do with that? And they're like, yeah, you can only buy it in liquor stores.
Like even beer?
Anything, absolutely any kind of alcohol, only in liquor stores.
I don't remember that. I lived in Boston for like a month because I was touring with Chamber Theater Company, and they're based in Boston. So I was there for all the rehearsal process. I don't remember that at all. But then again, I was rehearsing, so who knows?
Right? Like, who had time for that?
Nobody.
Yeah, like even in the grocery stores. So some grocery stores can sell alcohol, but the way that they do it is like there's a mini liquor store inside the grocery store. You have to pay for your liquor there and then pay for your groceries within the rest of the store.
That is so
like,
weird.
You can't pay for your liquor in the grocery store. It just has to be there. It's so, I was like, what kind of
You're in Boston proper, or are you in one of the like outside?
Both. So well, yeah, because like I live in Seven Hill, which is in Dorchester. But like it's recognized that.
Like one, yeah, because I stayed in Waltham.
Gotcha. So, yeah, because I want to say within like the past like 10 years or so, Dorchester was like taken into like the city of Boston. But like depending what part of Dorchester you are, you like your address is Dorchester still.
How interesting.
Yeah.
I think that was definitely before my time. Oh my God, there's a giant mosquito hawk and it like wants me.
Mosquito hawk.
My cat lets in all the bugs. She's like, you're my toy.
Like, yeah, let's have fun.
Yep. She's being very good. I don't know where she is.
I know, we haven't seen her like all evening.
I know, and she was like such a cat. She was though. She was just like jumping all over everything. I don't know where she went.
She got it out of her system. She's fine.
She
did. Oh man. That is one thing that I'm like kind of sad about right now. So like we have no animals in the house. Because one of my roommates unfortunately is allergic to cats, and the other and like another roommate is allergic to dogs. So we have no animals.
You have to live vicariously like through Facebook. I'm sorry.
I do. So like my boss, she has a dog, and so she posts him like every day. It was like, here's Yuff, here's what she's doing today.
Oh, do you have office dogs?
So not like official office dogs, but we do have like a couple people who will bring in their dogs every once in a while. There's one she's a woman who works in our either engagement or marketing department. And she's from Dallas.
Oh.
Yep. Or Fort Worth. She's from the DFW.
I mean, the same.
Yeah, and she has a rescue dog. Oh my God, what is his name? It's like Benji or Baxter. His name is Baxter.
Baxter.
He's the cutest, and he'll come in, and he's come in a couple of enough times now. Like he knows he'll make the rounds. Like he'll just like decide to like leave her office and like make the rounds around the other offices, and like he knows which ones to stop into that will like say hi and give him the pets.
Yay.
It's so good. I'm like, oh, such a sweetheart.
Oh, baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, yes. Yep.
What
Here
we
we
do.
are, 3/4 of a bottle of wine down.
Congrats.
Congrats to you too. I'm glad tomorrow's Saturday. It's great.
It's officially the weekend. Who knows what that means for those of us who work from home?
It means nothing.
If anything,
it means I got things to work on tomorrow. Like the SBA just declared a disaster in our region, so loans are now available. Got to work on that.
Okay. Yeah.
Got to get that in. Yeah.
That's good.
Yep.
Try and get those resources out there.
Oh yeah, we got to eke by.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So true.
Mm-hmm.
No. Yeah, that is like one of the good things with like states of emergency being declared and like national emergencies is like there are certain things that you can't do, like shutting off water, electricity, rent's kind of in a weird space.
Well, I heard that they put a moratorium on mortgages, which they kind of expect to trickle down to renters, and I'm like, that ain't gonna happen.
Right, like with some folks are like, oh, I still want to make my money even though I don't have this. Actually, I don't know if that's true in Boston. I know it's true in New York and Austin and a couple of places in the north or the west.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like rent, I'm sure like because in New York and in Boston, all those like northeastern like places, rent is like such a huge deal. Most people are renters.
Yeah, absolutely. That is very like completely true because
yeah.
Because like my landlord, like he owns this place here in Seven Hill, but he lives in like a smaller town like in Western Mass.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So what are you doing? Like what are the provisions that they have out there for renters? Any official?
Nothing official yet, unfortunately. Like like the basics of like you can't, like the city can't shut down anything. Like if you're behind on like your any of your utility bills, like they can't shut any of that off.
Are they like putting a moratorium on evictions?
Yes, that has happened as well.
All right. So
Unfortunately.
basically it can still ding your credit, but they can't like just kick you out.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the biggest thing right now.
Yeah.
But like also, I mean, now that we're technically in spring, it might be a little bit different, but like in the wintertime, like that is something you can't do anyway, like whether we were in a state of emergency or not. Like you cannot like turn off your utilities because like that is something that you need to live, and if you were to do that, you would die.
Potentially kill somebody.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's just like kind of like a standard in Boston during the winter at least.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Like I know that in Texas there's like a moratorium on mortgages, and then also like you can't be evicted. But I do feel bad that have for the people that have like gotten their credit to that place where it's just like now they could save up money and buy a house. Well, okay.
What does that mean anymore?
Yeah. Yep. Rough times.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, Downer. Sorry.
No worries. No worries. I mean, there have been like a lot of like fun memes going around, like centered around the musical Rent. Right. So you know that whole like opening number of like we're not gonna pay rent?
Yeah. Here we are.
Here we are.
We all are. People that thought that they'd never be those people. Here we are.
Which like love to see. Yes, 100%. My, democratic socialist ass. Like, no, we don't need rent.
Like, oh, now that there's a virus, we're all democratic socialists. We all want money from the government. Hi.
Oh my God. Some of the funniest have been of like the memes of like, MAGA folks and like super ultra conservatives being like, the $1,000 would be really nice, but socialism. Like going back and forth.
We'll be thinking socialism like 2 months from now, where your asses still don't have a job. It's true.
Here we are.
Here we are. Enjoy the wine while you have it. Sad but true.
It's so true. Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna drink a little bit more water because I should be responsible.
Yes, not like you're driving though. You are already home.
Yeah, I am at home.
Yes.
So we're not going anywhere.
No, you're just being responsible for your hangover tomorrow.
Exactly. That's exactly what's happening. And also, like, I do eventually have to go downstairs to go to the bathroom to take out my contacts for the night. So
that's the hazard.
Yeah, very slowly.
Use that handrail.
Yes, we will. We're like, all right, we're just gonna lumber down these stairs.
Right. One stair at a time.
Might do like a Hello Dolly number. Who knows?
One stair more. One stair more. You have to get the Les Mis in there. This is the time.
Somehow.
Mis, like fucking everything.
Oh my God. I mean, this is the time of revolution.
It is. Bernie Sanders is like, oh, if this had only happened like a month earlier, like legit, people would be like, yeah.
But for real though, but also like, why did it take this for this to happen?
I know. And where are all my people that were supposed to go out and vote? Like, where are they?
Yeah.
I'm on the cusp of millennial. I'm like the transitional year. Yep.
Yeah. And it's like we're millennial and Gen Xers, like we're the biggest population of voters. So like,
yeah. Where are you?
Where you at?
Where you at? Where you be voting at? You're not voting.
Right. Or if you're voting, where are you voting conservative?
Way.
Ugh. I mean, yes. We digress.
We do. Nothing like vanilla ice cream when you could have any other flavor of the entire flavor space.
The 100% best analogy, metaphor, whatever I've ever heard. Vanilla ice cream.
Vanilla ice cream goes with everything, right?
The rest of all of the ice creams that exist.
The entire spectrum of ice cream.
You can apply that to politics. You can apply that to dating. You can apply that to theater.
Yes.
Let's apply that to all the art forms.
Yes. Everything.
I have basic vanilla which is sometimes good. Do not get me wrong.
I
Sometimes
mean, with apple pie, yes, yes. And if America is apple pie, yes.
But also sometimes you want some chocolate chips,
you can have some like caramel ripple up in there. You could caramel ripple, apple pie, please.
Rocky Road, like
yes.
Cherry Garcia,
some ice cream adventures.
Yes, please and thank you.
And on that note.
Ya nos vamos, ya.
Had this much liquid in their body, and like someone else has to go down the stairs to get rid of it.
Oops. Yep. This much, you see.
I don't have those worries, but I'm looking out for you.
Thank you, honey. I feel that in solidarity.
Goods.
I'm so glad we were able to do this.
Me too. This has been so much fun. We need to do it like informally. We need to get the family involved. We need to get Austin.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, foreseeable future, if we have to fill more time.
Yes.
I am here.
Count on you. Mwah.
Mwah, mwah, mwah. Love you so much.
Love you too. All right, we're going to say goodbye.
Bye.
Everybody. I'm going to end the stream. I think maybe eventually.
Hopefully. You know how to do this.